and welcoming you now to gentle yoga. Today we'll be moving at a snail's pace to accommodate for this hot weather we're having. Right? So you might be in air conditioning, and that's great, so you can take good care of yourself by staying indoors if it's really hot. This morning, or whenever you're watching this, we're going to be just trying some cooling, grounding practices to complement or to balance the heat. As we were talking at the beginning of class, what are some ways that you can cool the body? And of course, with yoga, some of the parts of yoga are actually very heating to the body, like practicing asana, which is what you're here to do today. But there are ways that you can practice asana that are not as potentially imbalancing to the system if we're in a really hot environment. If you might not be able to tell, I'm not a really huge fan of hot yoga. And I think, as somebody who is studying Ayurveda, which is the science of life and kind of balancing everything and staying healthily balanced, I look at hot yoga as the only reason you would practice yoga in a hot room would be if you were a very high vata person. This is a person who tends to be very cold all the time, and you were maybe in a winter month, and that might be beneficial only in that circumstance. That being said, there are a lot of people who love hot yoga. Anyway, today we're going to be practicing cooling yoga, okay? Cooling, grounding yoga. So getting settled in your seated posture, today I wanted to offer you a mudra that we may have done in the past, but revisiting it now. It's called Bu Mudra. Bu, B-H-U, means earth. And so creating basically the peace sign with both of your fingers, or victory, you could think of it that way. And then you're going to literally just plug your fingers down into the earth. Right, and as and if you're a little bit high up, right, you might take your blocks, or you might actually plug into your own thighs. That's another option. Right, so just allowing the fingertips to rest wherever is most easily accessible to you, the thighs or the ground. And as you plug your Bu Mudra down into the earth, you might soften the gaze or even close the eyes. So closing the eyes is another way that we can cool ourselves by taking away the stimulus of sight, which can be very warming, can be very aggravating to pitta. So drawing some of this earth energy up through the fingertips and through the breath. Inhaling. You could exhale nose or mouth. See if we can take 5 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, nose or mouth. Inhale, draw that cool earth energy up. Exhale, release any excess heat from the body. And 2 more, breathing in and breathing out. Taking 1 more breath with me. All right, let's bring the hands up at heart center. And bow the head slightly in Anjali Mudra. Today, asking you to join me in the sound of an Om at the beginning and the end of our class today, just to kind of get things even more grounded. Inhaling for Om. Very good, guys. Rubbing the hands together very briefly. And then let's go ahead and give ourselves another little break here, bringing the palms over the eyes just for a moment, loosely covering the eyes with the palms and drinking in that darkness, drinking in that break from sight. And maybe taking 1 or 2 breaths here. And then when you're ready, just releasing the hands down. If you came down off the block in order to practice Bhu Mudra and you want to come back up, or you want to shift your posture in any way, we'll just be here for another moment or two. So making sure that you feel comfortable where you are right now. So today I want to share with you some eye exercises. A couple of my students had been asking for these. So eye exercises, we're going to be looking up, looking down, looking up to the upper right, lower left, so making X's across the vision, and then doing a whole circle. So let's try to do this with the breath. So inhale, looking up gently. Exhale, looking down gently. Inhale, looking back to center. Good. And we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, look up. Exhale, look down. Inhaling up, nice slow up. Exhale, down. And one more like that, up and down. And coming back to neutral, maybe blinking the eyes a few times to lubricate them. Then we're going to go ahead, let's actually just look over to the right side and then to the left. Come back to neutral. Look right, look left. Keeping the breath moving one more time, right and left. Good, and then coming back to neutral, you might blink the eyes a few times. All right, so looking up into that upper right-hand quadrant where the ceiling meets the wall, and then down into that lower left quadrant. Good, up to that upper right, down lower left. One more time, inhale, upper right, and lower left, and back to neutral. Maybe blink the eyes a few times. That's good. All right, let's now look up into that upper left quadrant, lower right, upper left, lower right, and one more time. Inhale, upper left, lower right. Coming back to neutral, blinking the eyes a few times. And then maybe making some slow circles with the eyes in one direction, if that doesn't make you feel too kooky. Right? And maybe the other direction. And then we'll go ahead and just rub those hands together one last time and cover the eyes and bathe those eyes again in that darkness. See if you can take 3 breaths along with this, with the intention to kind of restore some health to the eyes. Very good. And then if it's in your practice today, bringing some circular movement into the head and neck, unless you're already there. So go ahead and circle the neck in one direction. Maybe it's hear me now? Sorry about that. Yes, it's Mercury retrograde, and what that means is all kinds of things like this happen to me day in and day out. My laptop broke, I have vertigo, it's just like, wow, let's have fun. Let's have fun with this. All right, so where were we? We were rolling the neck. So if you have, and by the way, I do have a friend here that is helping me ground today, my dog Lucy. All right, Lucy. Let's go ahead and come onto your hands and knees. Right, so just coming onto your hands and knees, taking your time. seeing if you can spread those fingers out nice and wide, right? So placing the palms on the earth. And then moving the spine gently. Inhale, sink the belly, lift the head and heart. Exhale, round the back, push the earth away, tuck the chin. Right? So imagining that as you're arching and rounding the back, that the head is that natural extension of the spine. Right? So the head moves with you. Inhaling and exhaling at your own pace, moving the spine. Good. Maybe taking one more round. And then sinking back into your child's pose. So maybe you bring the knees apart, toes touch. Maybe you rest the forehead on the earth or a block. Allow the arms to soften or stretch the arms long. Seeing if you can just ask the breath to move into the back of the body. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, nose or mouth. Breathing in through the nose. Exhale, nose or mouth. Yeah, make any adjustments you need to stay here for one more breath. Good, and then we're slowly coming up back to the hands and knees posture. Back to the hands and knees posture. Stretching that right leg out behind you. Toe on the ground to start. Just rocking forward, rocking back. Stretch the toe, stretch the calf. See how that would feel? And then when you're ready, lifting that right heel up and crossing it off the left edge of your mat. That's good, Ted, looking over that left shoulder. See if you can breathe into the right side body. 3 breaths. Breathing in through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. In through the nose, out through the nose or mouth. And one more time. And when you're ready, resetting back to neutral. Right, if you need to take a little break for the wrists, you could tuck the toes under and do a couple wrist stretches. If you'd like to just travel to the other side, pressing that left leg long, toe on the ground to start. That's good, Judy. Rocking forward, rocking back, give your toe and calf a stretch. And then lifting that left heel up, shoot it out from the hip, and cross it off that right side of the mat. Peek over the right shoulder. And breathe into that left side body. Inhale, 1. Exhale, nose or mouth. Inhale, 2. Exhale, nose or mouth. And one more. Very good. Coming back to neutral. Let's tuck the toes under, sit back on the toes if this is in your practice. If you want to modify somehow, modify. I'm going to have my hands on my lap, and today I'm going to place my Boo Mudra, right? My fingers plugging into my own thighs for our lion's pose, right? So I've got my peace fingers or victory sign plugging into myself for this grounding lion's breath. So we'll take 3 lion's breaths. Opening the mouth, sticking out the tongue, and making that roar sounds. Very good. And then coming back to your hands and knees, right? Coming back to those hands and knees when you're ready. Tucking the toes under, lifting the hips, and finding a downward facing dog. So that's the upside down B shape. Just tuck those toes under, lift the hips. That's perfect, Ted. And pedaling out the feet, right? Maybe just bending one knee at a time, pressing the opposite heel down. Feeling the breath, feeling the stretch, just being in this moment as fully as you can. Very good. And then as you're ready, inhale to your high plank, right? So shoulders over wrists, drop the hips down, take one breath in, and then you're sinking all the way to the belly if it's in your practice today. All the way down to the belly, hands frame the rib cage, and we'll come up into a baby cobra. So inhale, just lifting the head and chest. Push the pubic bone down into the earth, push the feet down, and then come back down. We'll do 2 more pulses like that. Inhale, lift the head, right? You got your hands planted by the rib cage and the elbows lifted up. That's good, Ted. Inhale, lift, and exhale, release. And you might do just 1 more if you didn't get a chance to do 3. Good. And then you're going to rest your cheek on the earth. And let the arms rest at the sides. Let the arms just rest down by the sides if that feels comfortable for you, wherever feels comfortable. Maybe the palms facing down, facing up. Yeah, maybe you take that camel for Larry. Seeing if you can once again draw up that cooling earth energy into your whole body. And when you're ready, beginning to peel yourself back up. Take a stop in tabletop. Shake out the hips. And then if it's in your practice, you might meet me on the knees. Right? Very briefly, meeting me on, balancing on the knees. And then stepping 1 foot forward, doesn't matter which one. Tucking the back toe under and standing up with me. That's good, Barbara, taking your time there. And once you get up, if you need to make any adjustments to your camera, to your room, if you need to take that sip of hydrating, cooling water. I told you we were going to be moving slowly today, and I meant it. Okay. But to quote my teacher, there is nothing so sophisticated as the fundamentals, right? You might think, I want to do advanced yoga poses. I want to go through all these motions. What if we tried to find the ground and find more of that inner awareness during simple postures, right? During the fundamentals. Nothing as fundamental as mountain pose for our standing posture. So let's go ahead and build the mountain pose from the ground up, starting with your toes. So I'm going to lift all 10 toes, spread them out, and plant them back down. And I might do that a couple times. Lift all 10 toes, spread them out, plant them back down. And one more time, all 10 toes, spread them out, and plant them back down. Feel that strength in the legs by lifting the kneecaps. You might tuck the belly a little bit, and in doing so, tucking the tailbone. Heart is open. Shoulders, maybe you could loosen them a little bit, up, back, and down a few times. With that energy coming through the fingertips, you have another opportunity to practice Bu Mudra, right? Facing down, right? So you can still draw that energy up from the earth. Chin is level with the earth. Strong and stable mountain pose. Right? Seeing if you can hold your mountain pose, and if you notice you have weight in one side or the other, more weight, seeing if you can you could even rock from side to side and sort of find swinging the pendulum back to what feels like home base and staying there. Noticing if you're really on the inside or outside edges of your feet, seeing if you can create a little suction cup through your feet. And then the final piece is, do you want to close your eyes today? Would you like to close your eyes and take 3 breaths? Inhale through the nose. Exhale, nose or mouth. Inhale, nose. Exhale, nose or mouth. And one last. Inhale. And exhale. Very good. So it's actually quite a lot of work to stay engaged in our mountain pose. I'm going to walk to the back of my mat. Walking to the back of my mat. Feet together, arms out to the sides. With my gaze down today, right down at the floor. I'm going to take one step in front of the other, heel, toe, balance beam, to the top of my mat. If this feels really easy for you, you can close the eyes. Right? Maybe you take a walk to the back of the mat if you're feeling adventurous. Moving backwards is always a little more challenging, but my teacher says it's really good for the knees to move backwards like this. So taking your backwards balance beam. Once you get to the back of the mat, one last time, we'll come to the front. If you want to challenge yourself by closing the eyes. That's good, Mary Jo. And then we'll come back to the top of that mat when you're ready. Right? If you're really enjoying this exercise, you can continue it as long as you like. I'm going to get ready for my first balance pose, Flamingo. Right? So just a little bendy bounce to the knees. Weight coming into that right foot. I'm going to pick up my left leg and hug it towards the other, so I have this like tree trunk feeling. And maybe today I'll just bring my hands to heart center. For me, that's very grounding. If you found Mudra really grounding, you could do that here as well. Right? So just relaxing into those micro movements inevitably show up. Maybe your gaze is softly down, or maybe you find something that's not the monitor to look at, right? Something across the room. Finding your breath. Slow and steady. That's good. Ready to come out. Come on out. Kick the right leg out and switch it out. Little bendy bounce. Going to take the weight into the left foot, pick up that right leg, create your tree trunk. Right? The side could feel different. Honoring that. Finding your breath, finding your gaze. Right? Doing whatever you want with the arms, of course. Often when we're right hand dominant, the left side can be more challenging. Right? So if you find yourself wobblier on one side, that means you need to work on that side a little more. So I'm going to go ahead and pick up my strap with my toes. Can you do that? Pick up your strap with your toes. Come on, guys. Humor me here. And I'll take my strap into my hands with a little bit of a wider stance. Bring my arms overhead. Right? And then I'm just taking a little bend to one side and the other. Maybe my head goes with it, maybe it doesn't. Maybe I'm just isolating the shoulders today. Right? Or if you'd like to move the trunk, that's fine too. Right? Just finding a gentle motion from side to side. Less is sometimes more, slower is sometimes better, to balance out the energies around you. You know, so we've got a solar eclipse today. We have Mercury in retrograde. We have coming back to life, the quote-unquote normal. It's a lot. We have the summer heat. Maybe one more on each side. Good, and then we'll release the strap down and bring the strap behind the body. Palms facing away from the body, if that would feel okay for you. Grounding down through the feet. Maybe this is enough just to hold the arms here, lift the heart, little belly tuck so that pelvic bowl tilts back. right? Or maybe you'd like to try lifting the strap up away from the back body. Keep that chin level with the earth and release back down. Inhale, lift, maybe a little bit of a resistance, a pull on the strap, release back down. Inhale, lift. My palms are pointing to the pointing behind me, right? So you can see I'm holding my strap like so. And that is one way that I can create a little more stability in my shoulder joints, but you do what feels best for you. Maybe one more lift. That's good, Tim. Good range of motion in the shoulders. And then I'll release that down, roll the wrists a few times, shake out the hands. All right. So let's go ahead and come to your mountain pose at the top of the mat. I'm going to step my right foot forward and my left foot back in a high lunge today. All right, so I got my back heel lifted. I could bend and straighten into my right knee a few times. I'll bring my hands to heart center. And then I'll stay in my lunge for maybe 3 breaths. Engage that left glute muscle. Find your breath. And then what would it feel like to step up slowly and keep the left knee lifted for 1 breath? And release back down. Good. Other side. Left foot forward, right foot back, back heel lifted. You could bend and straighten into that left knee a few times. Hands at heart center. Engage that right glute muscle to stabilize the hips. Find your breath. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. And 1 more breath. And then getting ready to launch yourself forward and keep that right knee lifted for 1 breath. Good. And then releasing back down. All right. So same thing. Right foot forward, left foot back, high lunge. This time we're going to bring the arms out to the sides. Right? Take that big breath in. As you exhale, twist to the right. Left butt is engaged. That's good. See how far you want to go. Maybe you don't go as far as you can go. Twisting to the right. Twisting to the right. Yeah, the other right. And come back to center. Hands to heart center. Step it up. Maybe you hold for 2 breaths. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. That's good. When you're ready, switch sides. Left foot forward, right foot back, back heel lifted. Engage that right glute muscle. Find your stability first. Maybe that's widening the stance. Open the arms out to the sides. Take a breath in. Exhale, twist to the left. Right? Maybe you don't go as far on this side. Maybe you go farther. Find your breath. Slow travel back to center. Hands to heart center. Getting ready to step up for 2 breaths. Finding that one-legged pose. That's great, guys. And then releasing down. We'll just walk it out a little bit. Take that sip of water, whatever you need to do. Take off a layer. Or take it all off and turn your camera off. I will never know. All right, guys. That's good, Vicki. Just getting some lubrication into the hip joints, right? Having a little fun while we're at it. So I'll take a little bit of a wider stance here on my mat. Coming into our warrior 2. So right foot to the right. Left toes angling in. Yeah, take a peek at your right knee and see where that right knee is. Can it be right over that right ankle? Not crumbling in towards the side of the mat? And then when you're ready, arms reaching out to both sides. Right, so let's see. Yeah, that's right, Tim. It's hard without your partner there to kind of, you're flowing together. I'm going to hug my arm muscles along the bones. Right, so I'm not just kind of flopping down here in my arms. And then I might gaze over that right hand. Finding my breath. 3 breaths. Is there anywhere I could relax a little bit? Jaw, shoulders? Good, and then I'll flip my left hand and lift that right arm, lift that right arm up, reversing the warrior. You might straighten that right leg, get a little longer, and then come on back, warrior 2, for 3 breaths. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Moving at your own pace with the breath, gazing over that right hand. Good, and then we'll release the hands to the hips. All 10 toes to the side of the mat. Maybe you shorten the stance for a moment and take a few hip circles. Moving in one direction, moving in the other direction. Good to lubricate the hip joints like this. Good, and then you'll turn your left toes to the left. Angle the right foot in. Bend into this left knee and look at where your left knee is. Really great to have that stabilizing alignment there. And then when you're ready, when you feel stable through the feet, if you're not already there, lifting the arms out equally in both directions. Right? You might reach forward and you might reach back and find a little sweet spot in the middle. Yeah, and then gazing over that left hand, finding your 3 breaths. Just reminding yourself why you're here today. What is your yoga practice dedicated to today? Or what are you feeling grateful for in this moment? Sometimes that warrior 2 can crystallize your focus so well. Let's back it up away from our warrior 2. Reverse the warrior. Left palm reaching towards the ceiling. Maybe that left leg straightens for a moment. Beautiful now. And then coming back to warrior 2 for another few breaths. Gazing over that left hand. That's good, Vicky. One more breath. And then releasing the hands to the hips, all 10 toes to the side of the mat. You might shorten the stance. You might like to do some hip circles, or you might like to do a wide-legged forward fold. So the choice is yours to stay with the hip circles, or maybe you want to slowly stretch the hands down the legs and fold forward to whatever degree feels safe for you. Right? You could decide to keep that nice flat back and engagement through the core, right? Or you might be working towards getting the hands closer to the floor. Right? There's no pressure to do that. When we come into this posture, which is very stretching for a lot of the hip and the hamstrings, see if you can engage the quads by lifting the kneecaps, and that's going to help you stay a little safer here. Right? So you're engaged through the quads. Good. Taking 2 more breaths. A little soft bend to the knees is good too. Yeah, that's good, Ted. Really nice waltz. And making your way up nice and slow. Walking it out, stepping to the top of the mat. That's great, Vicky, getting that little extra stretch. Walk it out, and then if you have something you'd like to use to stabilize you, like a wall or bureau or piece of furniture, we're just doing a quad stretch like we did last week. Okay, so I'm going to start with my weight in my right foot, and see if I can reach back and grab onto either my pant leg, right, or my ankle or my foot. And as I do this, I'm kind of pushing down into my hand so I get a little extra stretch. Right? If you wanted more here, you might kind of reach forward and tip forward a little bit, lift the leg up. If you wanted to be a little more active. That's good, Larry. It's very inspiring. And then when you're ready, go ahead and switch sides. Like, yoga should be fun. We should be having fun with this. So, yes, we're getting a quad stretch. We're doing some balance work. And we're just exploring what the body feels like doing, right? Not really rocket science. Not forcing it if it doesn't feel right or safe. That's good. And then releasing back down. Okay, so you can, keep using something to stabilize you, or you can kind of free flow a little bit. So I'm going to start to bring the weight into my right foot, and I'm just going to lift my left heel up a few times and kind of like really think about lifting from the butt and the back of the knee, right? So it's kind of like moving towards a warrior three. And in my warrior three, my torso might come more parallel to the earth, right? I might be able to hold, I might be better suited, especially if I have hip issues, to be more dynamic rather than holding, because it puts a lot of pressure on the joint, right? Maybe the arms come out to the sides, or maybe you bring those hands to heart center, right? Maybe you keep the head lifted. Maybe that toe points down. And then let's see how it would feel to come right back to that one-legged posture, lifting that left knee up. All right, guys, nice job. Let's try it on the other side. Slow balance work is probably one of the most grounding things you can do. So let's go ahead and try this kind of a version of a warrior three, where we're picking up this right leg and floating it up a few times, seeing how it feels on this side. Always an option to grab onto something. Right? Maybe you take those hands to heart center and just lean forward. See how that would feel. The torso could come more parallel with the earth, or you could keep the head lifted. Finding your breath. Lifting through the kneecap, the back of the knee. And then when you're ready, slowly standing into that one-legged posture. Maybe you touch down first. Find your breath. And then release. Awesome, guys. Okay, so we're going to come to a seated posture now. Any way that you would like to get there, anything you would like to do on the way. Maybe you're looking to continue to challenge your balance. So you might bring the feet together, knees together. Slowly sink down. Don't do this if you have knee issues. Balance on the toes. Yeah, and then we'll slowly sit down. And let's come to a seat with a little bit of a wide stance for the legs, right? So just the legs apart in a V shape. And I got my blocks here because what I'd like to do is to support my chin if that is available to you. And that might not be high enough, right? You might need to, you might not be able to reach this far forward. Or maybe you're working there. So this would be a good way you could watch TV while you're working on this wide-legged forward fold business. Let's go ahead and come into this. Everybody will wonder, what is going on? Right? So holding this more in a surrender state. than an active muscular state. If this isn't available to you, you could always just bring the hands behind the shoulders and keep that support there like that. Inhale 1, exhale 1, inhale 2, exhale 2, one more breath in and breath out. All right, guys, nice job. All right, so in my quest to find ways to practice that don't involve moving my head all around because of vertigo, I have actually discovered something that I think you're going to love. And Larry, I think you're going to love this too. So does everybody have a strap? This will be really important that we have a strap to do this. All right, everybody has a strap. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread the strap behind me. And I'm going to bring the strap behind me. And I'm going to kind of measure so I can get a good measurement of the strap coming around my right leg, my right foot. And then once I get that measurement, is the strap long enough for you? Does everybody have a long enough strap for this? Then I'm going to do the buckle, right? So I'll thread the strap through both of the rings and then back through one ring so that it's, I can secure the buckle. Hi, Lucy. What are you doing? All right, so from here, this is where it gets really exciting. Everybody have their buckle looped in okay? Because sometimes that can get a little confusing. This is important that you figure this out. What I'm going to be working towards is once you figure that out, and I'll give you a little bit more time to do that because it can be challenging. Yes, hello. Give me a kiss. All right. I'm going to bring the strap up towards my upper back behind me. Right? And then I'm going to start to lift my leg up. And the strap will hold me here. What I'm going to need to do is actually pull the strap a little bit tighter so that I'm getting the lift here. Right? So I'm just stretching the back of my legs. That's all I'm doing, but I'm not laying down for it. I'm sitting up tall for it. And I'm getting a pretty great hamstring stretch here. See how that feels. Is it crazy? Is it too much? You can always lie down and do this with the leg lifted if it's too hard. But what I love about this is that I'm also getting this upper back support. Right? So Ted, maybe your legs are too long. Is that what's happening? A little bit too long. But if you can't do the loop, this actually would be really good for you to work with the thoracic spine, which gets rounded, right? So I could even just keep my hands on the ground behind me, and I'm getting a great stretch right now. A great stretch. I'm not working really in the arms at all. I can play around with my arms. And then I'll go ahead, and when I'm ready, I'll just switch sides, right? Just switching sides. So, if the loop isn't long enough, sometimes 2 straps will do the job. Like you can loop one strap onto the other. And if you need an extra strap and you want to try this, just hit me up. I have a lot of them. All right. So sitting up tall, maybe the hands come behind you. Right? So some of you maybe don't like this or didn't figure it out, and that's okay. This is the first time we're trying it. Once I figured it out, I was like, this is awesome. And I want to do all kinds of things like this. I want to play around with my strap, and then I want to, once I'm there for a little while, I get a little bit tighter. I could just sit and watch TV like this. If you're feeling really, you could keep working this on either side. If you're feeling really adventurous with me today, you might loosen the strap a little bit before you do both feet, because it's going to be necessary to do that. See if you can put both feet into the strap. Hands behind you and lift both feet up. And maybe this isn't available to you right now, and that's okay. Right? This will be a way that you can experience boat pose with without the work, but if you want to do an effortful boat pose, you can do that too. Right, so just showing you some things you can do with the strap, right? And then, once you sort of start to get used to it, you can have a lot of fun with the strap, and you can stand up, and anyway, I was having a lot of fun with the strap. I thought I would share that with you guys. Let's go back to our regularly scheduled program. Feet together, knees apart, bound angle. Give yourself a little foot massage. Thank you for trying that with me. I know it was a little bit different. I don't know if that felt useful to you, but just please stick around and let me know after our class. Okay, so just a little bound angle pose. I might push into one thigh, lean the other way. Push into one thigh, lean the other way. Other thigh, lean the other way. If this feels too much, you can, come out of it. One more on each side, just bound angle, like feet together, knees apart, pushing into one thigh and leaning the opposite direction, and then the other way. Good, and then let's go ahead and come to lie on the back. Right, so coming to lie down on the back. The hands resting on the belly. Knees are bent. Taking those 5 grounding breaths with me. Inhale 1. Exhale 1. Inhale 2. Exhale 2. Inhale 3. Exhale 3. Inhale 4. Exhale 4. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Very good. Hugging the knees into the chest. Rocking from side to side. You'll plant your feet down on the earth for bridge pose. Maybe you like to practice with a block between the thighs for bridge pose. Right, so grabbing that block between the thighs, coming to lie on the back. The block encourages us to keep the legs and the feet hip-width distance apart. When you're ready, lifting the hips, interlacing the fingers underneath the body, or keeping the arms in robot arms by the sides. Right, can you find 3 breaths here? Lifting the hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. In your bridge pose, I'm showing a different thing for Larry here. And last one. Good. When you're ready, slowly coming down. Taking that block to the side. And then washing the knees from side to side with some space between the feet. Bringing those feet out to the edges of your mat. Windshield wiping the knees back and forth like this. So wonderful to stretch the hip flexors, which in turn may initiate a rest and digest and heal response to the nervous system. So as tied up with stress response. Good, and then from here you're going to come back to neutral, and we're just going to cross that right ankle over the left knee, reach up through the window of the legs, grab onto the back of that left thigh and pull it in, right? Maybe the head can rest on a block or the floor, right? If the floor feels far away, please give yourself a block pillow. If you're feeling strain in the neck. Right, or you could practice this seated. Finding your breath, 2 more breaths. Slowly bringing that left foot down. Cross that right knee all the way over. Same side. Right knee over the left, knees nestling. That's right, Ted. And we're slowly bringing those knees over to the left side. Try to keep that right shoulder down. That's where you'll be getting the biggest spinal twist stretch. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Just letting breath and gravity do the work and time. Seeing if you can release a little bit of effort from the body, from the jaw, from the shoulders. And just allow the breath to be full. And when you're ready, come back to neutral. Resetting, and then crossing that left ankle over the right knee. Reaching up through the window of the legs, grab onto that right thigh. Pull it in however feels best. So we're keeping that right knee bent, Mary Jo. Keeping that right knee bent, and that one might be a little bit more intense to do it that way. So if you need to return to the straight, you can, of course. Breathing in, breathing out. You control how much sensation you want to experience here. Good, and then we're slowly bringing that right foot down. Knees will nestle together, and we drop the knees over to the right side, encouraging that left shoulder to melt into the earth. Finding that breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Beginning to let go of some effort in the jaw and the shoulders. Allowing breath, gravity, and time to do the work for you. And just experiencing the fullness of the breath, if you can. Good, and when you're ready, coming back to center. Hug those knees into the chest one last time. Maybe you'd like to grab onto the backs of the thighs and push the feet up towards the sky. Point and flex a few times. You might open the legs to a V shape, scissor the one foot in front of the other, switch which foot's on top, scissoring back and forth a few times. Good, and then when you're ready, rest the feet down. Make any other movements the body's asking for. We'll move to Shavasana, or your choice is legs up the chair, couch, or bed. Right? So you can scoot yourself towards a piece of furniture in your home and drape the legs up onto that chair, right? And lay back down, give yourself some neck support, or go right to Shavasana, right? So Vicky, go ahead and get yourself a pillow for your head, something for underneath the knees. Coming into that Shavasana is so important to practice this pose in whatever way you can. And even if you can't comfortably lay down, you can still practice letting go of effort through the body. So giving yourself the next few minutes to really decompress. Seeing if you can notice all the parts of the body that are touching the earth or touching the supports that you have placed below. And imagining for a moment in your mind's eye that your body is creating an imprint on the earth below. And maybe that earth is a little spongy, and that imprint could get a little bit bigger, a little bit deeper. And allowing yourself to sink down into this imprint. In your Shavasana or legs up the couch pose. Letting yourself be held by your own imprint. Trusting in that support that you can give yourself by finding stillness. If you're in legs up the couch and you would like to move away from that, that's always an option to come to the full Shavasana. We'll just be here another few moments, letting yourself rest. Giving yourself permission to do nothing. And then slowly inviting the breath back into your body. Taking a breath in and allowing the breath to radiate and fill the whole body, breathing with the whole body. Maybe wiggling fingers, toes, stretching arms overhead. Rolling onto one side. Give yourself a hug for making the time for your own self-care during this very interesting time that we are living, sharing on the planet right now. And then as you're ready, if you're not already there, slowly coming up to sit, joining me in a seated posture. Finding that tall spine, right? Feeling your seat on the earth. Bringing those hands to heart center. And if it's in your practice today, joining me in the sounds and creation of 1 Om and 3 Shantis. Shanti for peace. Inhale. Om. Shanti. 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 And thanking you so much for your practice. Namaste and stay cool.